Hello and welcome to Multicopter Build. Today we're going to take a look at a mini quad, and it's the Jumper 218 Pro. So before we get started on this video, I will just say that this is not a review. This is only an initial flight, or initial thoughts video, like sort of a first glance video of this multi-rotor. I have simply not flown enough with it to be able to make a full review. I've only had like 8 batteries through the quadcopter, and it's not perfectly tuned yet. So this is only a video describing the thoughts that I've come across so far with this frame. So this mini quad is sort of like meant for the beginner section. So if you want to get into mini quad racing but you don't really know how to build a mini quad, this is sort of where you start, because it comes pre-assembled. The only thing you really have to do is add your own receiver and screw on the propellers, and that's basically it to get you flying. Of course you have to tune it, but the basics is there. Everything is mounted. You don't really have to do anything. Let's start off with the things I really like about this frame. So first of all, I like that it comes pre-assembled. You don't really have to do anything. You only really have to mount your receiver, which I've mounted down here. You need to mount the video transmitter, and then add your own battery, and then just plug it in and fly. That's basically what you have to do. Of course you have to tune it, but that is not really the biggest deal. You don't have to solder anything. You don't have to do anything that you would normally do if you build your own quadcopter. So I really like that it comes almost pre-assembled. I also like that the build quality of the frame is mostly good. The only problem I've had is this front right motor over here. Doesn't always spin up with the rest of the motors. It sort of stands and wiggles from side to side before eventually it gets going. And I have done ESC calibration several times, and I've also done the BL Heli calibration. Nothing really seems to sort it, and if you spin it, the bearing seems to be, or the motor makes some noise. So I don't know if it's because of a faulty motor. It flies perfectly fine when it flies. There's nothing that seems underpowered from that motor, so I don't know what it is. But all the rest is really good built. It doesn't feel like anything would break when taking it out of the box. I also like that the camera and the FPV gear is included. This is not the original camera. The original camera was on here, but I mounted my own, and I'll get back to why I did that. But I like that everything is there. You don't have to decide which camera will fit on the frame, which FPV transmitter will fit on the frame, because let's face it, there's not really a lot of place between those plates or between the height here. So I like that it's just included. Also, I like the location of the battery connector. I really think that the location of this battery connector is really good, because when you strap on your battery, it just comes around and plugs straight in there, and it doesn't really, the wire cannot get anywhere near your propellers or anything that was basically be dangerous for your leads. So very good placement. I really like that, and I also like how it's soldered. It seems very solid. I also like that it's a modular build, because all the ESCs is just plug out, plug in, replace. If there's anything that goes wrong, buy an ESC, plug it in. You don't have to solder anything. You don't have to set up anything. It's just pure plug and play. And also just the FPV camera, I replaced mine. I just plugged out the lead, plugged a new one back in, and boom, there was power, there's image. It's just all modular. There's no soldering needed. I really like that. That's a good idea. And the last thing is that I really like the punch, the power that this quadcopter has. It might not be a lot to those FPV 4-cell guys with the lightweight 200 size frames, but for a beginner, this is plenty of power. It does really accelerate quite good, and you can really get some good flights with it. So for a beginner, this will have plenty of power for you. Now to the dislikes, because there are some things I have run into. First was the frame, the issue with this motor not always spinning up. But other than that, I don't like how flexible the frame is. Well, the main frame is not really flexible because you have all these plates, and you have this top plate strapping it down. But when it comes to the arms, and I can just turn it around so you can see, when it comes to the arms, it is so easy to bend. It will probably not be an issue for the average beginner user, but if you really want to fly it under stress and really want to push it to its limits, I think that could have an effect on performance. But again, for a beginner, it's probably not going to be a problem. It's just something that I have come across. Other than that, I don't like that there's no protection around the original FPV camera, because it was mounted on those two spacers, that is the two front spacers for this plate. It was bolted onto that, and I've only had one crash with this frame so far, and in that crash the camera just completely ripped apart. It wasn't really a high-speed crash. I just flew into some branches and it dropped from like 2 meters. I think it might have landed somehow wrong, but the camera casing just completely ripped apart, and there was no way that I could glue that together without some light coming in directly to the sensor. So I don't like that there's no enclosure or protection around the camera. That's sort of like the big thing, I have to say. So now I've added my own camera with a metal housing, so it probably won't rip apart again in the next crash I have. I also don't like that it has no support for CPPM or SBOS or PPM sum, whatever the standard is, because you get all these leads. If I turn it around here, you get all these leads from the nage sport to the receiver, and for the mini quad it doesn't really make sense to have that many wires when you have options like the PPM sum or CPPM or SBOS. So I don't know why they did not incorporate that. Because it meant I had to use a bigger receiver, so I couldn't really place it anywhere. Otherwise I would have used the FreeSky D4R, which is a great receiver with diversity, and it's just so small and nimble. But I had to use the V8 FR, I believe, which is quite a bit smaller, or quite a bit bigger. So I didn't really like that. Other than that, I don't like that the frame is made of glass fiber, or some sort of composite. I think it's glass fiber. Because for the price, I believe you're paying around $170, something like that. You might just as well have gone with carbon fiber, because it's not really that much more expensive. I believe you can get a carbon fiber upgrade kit, which is only like $7 more, $7, somewhere around there. So why not just throw in this extra $10 and just make it carbon fiber from the beginning? So instead of paying $170, you pay $180 for a full carbon fiber frame. I would have done that. It would have made the experience a bit better and the frame a little bit lighter. And the last thing is that I don't really like the placement of this battery strap. And I'll just turn it around so you can see. Because there's basically two options. There's this option where it's all at the front, which is okay. But when you mount the battery, I don't know if you can see it, but then you only strap down this part of the battery, which isn't really an option. Which isn't really a good option. Then you can also push it to the middle here, but I don't know if you can see it. Now there's an issue with the power connector. So you can try to strap it in back, or it just doesn't really make sense. So most of the time I'm up here, but also if you're down here, you can't really get to the pins that you need to turn around or to switch on and off, depending on if you want a flight control update, an OSD update, or just the normal use. There's some pins that you can turn on and off in there. You can't really get to them if the Velcro is down here. So yeah, that's a bit of an issue. So all in all, I think this is a very good frame, especially for beginners getting into the hobby and want to try out the mini quad racing scene. And I really think this is a good one, especially because it's so modular, and it's so almost ready to fly. So you don't really have to do anything to get it set up. All you really have to do is to mount the propellers, mount the video transmitter, mount the receiver, and then install your battery, and that's basically it. Although you have to make a PID tune, there's so many standard PID tunes out there you can just choose from and get it flying. It'll not fly perfect, but it'll be absolutely fine to just get some experience under your hands. So yeah, definitely a good one. So this video was basically a different format that is usually on my channel. I usually just made build videos, not really showing my face, not really having sort of a studio. So if you like this new format, I will try to do reviews. I'll try to do challenges. I'm trying to go around all this multi-rotor world. I've also got some more mini quads frames coming in that I will be reviewing. So if you like this new format, please give a like, give a comment, subscribe if you're not already. It would mean a great deal to me. And if there's something you want me to look at, there's something you want me to review, please leave a comment. If there's something you want me to do, like a challenge, or if there's something you just wanted me to look into or test out, leave a comment with it, and I'll see if I can make that happen. So I hope you like this new format. I hope you find it a little bit more professional than what I'm used to doing. And we will also, when we get a bit further into this mini quad world, we'll also be building our own frames, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. So subscribe, and I'll keep you posted. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face, tell me that you love me.